Hi, my name is Pat, and this is my channel, Book Chat with Pat, and I'm glad that you're here. Today is Saturday, March 16th, and I'd like to do a weekly wrap up. First, the March of the Mammoths continues, and I'm still reading George Eliot's Middlemarch, which I'm also reading for Classics and Company, the Classics and Company read along. I'm more than halfway through at this point, but I don't feel like I made really significant headway this week. I think I think my mind is just a little cluttered with all of these events that I'm trying to participate in, and I'm trying to do a little bit here and a little bit there, and I'm not making significant headway. So hopefully this weekend I can fix that. I also this week reread this collection of poetry by Padraig Tuama, Sorry for Your Troubles. And I reread this in preparation for my Poetry Thursday episode that I did this week. During the month of March, I am trying to present all Irish poets on Thursdays on my Poetry Thursday episodes in support of the Irish Readathon. This beautiful collection of poetry arose from Tuama's work at the Corrymeela community, which is Ireland's oldest peace and reconciliation organization. The poems in this collection, the poems in this collection come from stories of people who have lived through personal and political conflict in Northern Ireland, in the Middle East, and in other places of conflict around the globe. The phrase "sorry for your troubles," popular all around Ireland, actually means sorry for your bereavement. And so the poems in this collection really speak to people's grief and to the strength of the human spirit to endure with courage and with hope. It's a profound collection that has a great deal to say to us, I believe, in our current situation in the world, in a time of horrible division and conflict. I'm slowly making progress through the 9 prompts for March Mystery Madness. In the first week of March, I completed 3 of the 9 prompts, which I talked about last week. This week, I completed 1 more prompt, and I started on another. I completed the 5th prompt, which is to read a book that reminds you of Janelle, of Too Fond of Books. This year's March Mystery Madness event is dedicated to the memory of Janelle, who died last year. She was a very avid mystery reader. Sadly, I'm too new to BookTube to have known Janelle before she passed, but in visiting her channel to try to learn about her, I learned that Agatha Christie was her favorite author. And so I reread the classic Murder on the Orient Express in honor of Janelle. As I said, I didn't know her, but I think this is a book that she would have certainly approved of. Murder on the Orient Express is one of Christie's, probably one of her most famous novels, and it features her Belgian detective, Hercule Poirot. The novel was written in 1934 and was most directly influenced by the kidnapping and murder of the Lindbergh baby in 1932. In this novel, Poirot and a motley assortment of characters are traveling on the Orient Express when the train is stopped unexpectedly in the middle of the night by an impassable snowdrift. The next morning, it is discovered that one of the passengers, an American, Samuel Edward Ratchet, has been stabbed over a dozen times, stabbed to death. We find out early in the novel that Ratchet is not who he pretended to be. His true identity is that of an American gangster named Cassetti, who kidnapped and killed the 3-year-old Daisy Armstrong. The entire Armstrong family is then done in by this terrible tragedy. So Cassetti has many enemies, many people who might want him dead. Hercule Poirot now goes about solving the crime, and the reader bears witness to how he solves a case. If by some chance this novel has thus far escaped you, I wholeheartedly recommend it to you. It is a great read. I've also started reading my 5th book in the March Mystery Madness event. The first prompt is related to the title of this year's event, which is To the Nines. We are invited for the first prompt to read a murder mystery displaying formal wear on the front cover. So I have just started reading A Scream in Soho by John G. Brandon. You can see lots of formal wear on the front cover. Brandon was an Australian-born crime writer who lived in England, and he wrote over 100 detective novels, many of which are set in London. So I'll get back to you on this. I'll tell you more about this one next week after I've made a little more headway. I'm also making good progress in my goal of reading 24 banned or challenged books in 2024, a challenge created by the illustrious MJ at Reading This Life. My 10th book read so far in the challenge was Nick Stone's 2017 novel, Dear Martin. This book was written in response to a series of events involving the shooting deaths of unarmed African American teens. The book tells the story of an African American teenager named Justice. Justice, when the novel opens, is a senior in high school. He's a really good kid. He's an honors student. He's a champion debater. And he attends a mostly white prep school. Justice, throughout the novel, keeps a journal. So, every couple of chapters, there's a journal entry, which is actually in the form of letters that he's writing to the late Martin Luther King Jr., in which he's trying to work out his thoughts and feelings about race and about his place in the world. This novel is a frequent target of book challenges under the general premise that any effort in a book to depict racism in contemporary American society must be deemed divisive. I'm going to do a separate video during the coming week on this novel in my continuing effort to read challenged books. Finally, I'm in the middle of reading a wonderful memoir that has been around for some time. This is called Are You Somebody? The Accidental Memoir of a Dublin Woman. and it's by the late Nuala O'Phelan. This memoir was a major bestseller in Ireland when it was released in 1996, and it did very well here in the United States as well. The book started out actually as an introduction that O'Phelan was writing for another book that was going to be a collection of her newspaper pieces. It was going to be a collection of her columns. And what started as the introduction that she was writing actually turned into this beautiful memoir. She was one of 9 children. She was the second oldest. Her father was a fairly well-known journalist in Ireland. Her mother, left to care for 9 children pretty much alone, had an appetite described as being basically for 2 things. For books, she was an avid, voracious reader, and she had an appetite for alcohol. And her children were left largely neglected. At 14, Nuala is sent off to a boarding school, and she believes that this event probably saved her life. She would eventually go on to University College Dublin and then to Oxford University. O'Phelan has a great deal to say about women's roles in Ireland, and she also deals in a really moving way with the reality of her own life as a woman approaching 60 at the time of publication of this memoir, unmarried, childless, and at least in some conventional ways, alone. I don't know when I have been as affected by a memoir as I am by this one now. And I'll talk about this more soon, hopefully next week. So that's it. That's my weekly update. In the coming week, I hope to bring you another tag, more discussion about books that are being challenged, more Irish poetry, and hopefully significant progress on the other challenges that I'm doing in this crazy month of March. I want to wish everybody a happy St. Patrick's Day. I hope that you're all doing well. I'll speak with you again soon. Take care.